I sat down last night and watched a whole 4-hour cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Let's talk about it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's doing well out there. And that's right, last night I sat down and watched the 4-hour Justice League cut right through. Well, except for bathroom breaks, obviously. And I went over to my buddy Dale's house. He invited me over and we sat and watched this whole thing. And I want to give a shout out to Dale. Dale has a podcast. You like horror movies with his buddy Chuck. It's called Bat and Spider. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. Those guys are awesome. Check them out. And yes, finally, the moment I was waiting for, I couldn't wait to see this version of Justice League. It's not that I don't hate the theatrical cut, but you could tell when you watch it. I rewatched it the other day. I watched Man of Steel. I watched BVS Ultimate Edition leading up to this and Justice League theatrical cut because I wanted to make sure when I watched this, I knew exactly what the differences were. And there's tons of differences, obviously, because the original Justice League, that theatrical cut was only 2 hours. This is 4 hours and 2 minutes long, so there's a hell of a lot more footage, a lot more context, a lot more backstory to some of these characters that was definitely lost and cut out in the theatrical version. Now, there will be some spoilers in this. I'm not going to go spoiler heavy, but I am going to spoil some things as I talk about it because it's on HBO Max now. You can go watch it for yourself if you're interested. Now, this is very unprecedented what has happened with this film. Now, Zack Snyder left the Justice League production because of some family tragedy. I won't get into that. And they brought in Josh Whedon to finish the film, and he reshot some things, cut some things out. Now, he was mandated by the studio to bring the movie in under 2 hours. I think the Justice League theatrical cut's 1 hour and 59 minutes, so he made it by 1 minute. The problem with that is you got so many new characters you're introducing, like The Flash, Cyborg, Wonder Woman. Yes, Wonder Woman is in the end of BVS, and she's in it a little bit, but really this is where we get to know her a little bit more. I know there was a Wonder Woman movie, but at the time when they were filming this, there was a whole different ball game back then. And so they definitely add those layers back in. There's a lot more backstory to Flash. You get that scene with Iris West where he saves her, and some more with him and his dad. And you get Barry Allen's not as, I think in the Justice League theatrical cut, he was a little more jokey. He does make jokes in this film, and he's still a little awkward, but he has a purpose. Where in the first version of this, I don't think his purpose was all there. He was kind of just like a background character that ran really fast and did some things. In this version, he definitely plays an integral role in what happens going through the whole film. And also with Cyborg, we get way more backstory in Cyborg. We see how he becomes Cyborg, what transpired. We get to see him playing football in college at Gotham University, and we get to see him playing Wisconsin. There's a cool football scene in the snow, and we get to see more about his strained relationship with his father, how his mother died, how he became Cyborg, his problems with his father, even though his father's try to do right by him. But we see all of that, and it's definitely worth it, and it gives Cyborg more, well, first of all, character depth, and his whole reason for being here, what his powers are. They go through all that a lot more. Arthur Curry gets about the same amount of screen time, maybe a little bit more. Aquaman, he gets a little bit more to do. He still has some jokes, but he's not as jokey. This movie does have some funny parts, but it's not as jokey as the theatrical cut. They definitely cut some of that out. And Wonder Woman, the action scene is in the theatrical cut. It's a little longer here where she saves those kids through that terrorist attack. And I gotta be honest, I gave a review for Wonder Woman 1984. Wonder Woman's action scenes in this film are way better than anything that's in Wonder Woman 1984. That movie was such a letdown. But overall, I was very satisfied. Bruce Wayne isn't played for jokes like he was in the theatrical cut. Batman definitely has a lot to do. Superman's not in it as much, but they do resurrect him. He has the black suit. We all know that from the trailer. That's not a spoiler. But we get to see characters like Martian Manhunter show up in a couple scenes. We get to see more of that battle on Themyscira between Darkseid and all the Atlanteans and all the different tribes, and we see a Green Lantern there, and we get to see more of that battle when they beat Darkseid the first time. And we get more depth into Steppenwolf, for sure. They set his character up more. He just doesn't show up and start battling. They definitely set him up as he works for Darkseid. He owes a debt to Darkseid, and that is why he's doing what he's doing. And he's definitely more menacing in this. They show Darkseid more. Obviously, in the theatrical cut, they don't even hardly mention Darkseid. In this, Darkseid is omnipresent. Like, we know he's coming eventually. This is the build up to that, because originally this was supposed to be 2 films. The first film was with them battling Steppenwolf. The second film was them battling Darkseid. And I liked Steppenwolf's armor. The look of him is way better. The effects are way better on him in this one. Now, there was a few times through the film where the CGI wasn't quite there yet. But I think the CGI is an upgrade over the theatrical cut for sure. We get to see the Joker towards the end. That's not a spoiler. That was in the trailer if you watched it. And Jared Leto looks even better here than he did in Suicide Squad. And we got a little bit more of the nightmare sequence with Batman and what is to come if there was a sequel. I mean, they set up a lot of things towards the end of this film that we'll probably never see unless HBO Max says, okay, we're going to give Zack Snyder $200 million and he can go off and make his next Justice League film. I'd be up for that. I'd still like to see a Ben Affleck Batman, solo Batman movie, because I like Ben Affleck as Batman. He's not my favorite Batman, but I think he was a kick-ass, older Batman, and I would have loved to see a solo film with him in it. Everybody just gets more to do. There's more character development. The action is better shot. It's not choppy like it was in theatrical cut. It's beautiful to look at. All the landscapes are gorgeous, and gone is that goddamn red light at the end of the film through the last act that Joss Whedon put in. God, it was ugly, and it's all gone here. It looks way better. And gone is that Russian family that had no purpose in the story in the theatrical cut. They just show up. The movie stops dead to concentrate, to go to this farmhouse where Steppenwolf is setting up this, where they're going to have the final battle. And it's like, why are these people here? They have no purpose to be here. And we keep cutting to them. It's like, what the hell? That's all gone. The movie just flows better. Yes, it's 4 hours and 2 minutes. It's a long watch. I never felt the 4 hours, honestly. But for some people, they have a hard time seeing through 4 hours. And I do have it broken down into chapters. And the title card will come up, Chapter 1, Chapter 2. If you want to take a break or split this up, I would suggest just stop when the title card comes up and just go back to it later when you're ready to finish off the film. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Now, there's a lot of questions. Does this film need to be 4 hours? I think there's probably a 3.5 hour cut that would be an awesome cut of this film. I think there's some things that I would have cut out if this was going theatrical. I don't think you could have got away with doing this film for under 3.5 hours, though, honestly. To get everything across, you need to get across. I don't blame Zack Snyder for making it 4 hours. They basically gave him $70 million, tell him to go finish his film, and he threw everything in there that he had, and he shot a couple extra scenes with the Joker and stuff. He added a few things. I don't blame him. You might as well, if they're going to give you a shot, you don't know if you're going to be able to touch these characters again, you might as well go for broke and go all in, and that's what Zack Snyder did, and I was very happy with what we got. I would give the theatrical cut of Justice League, I never did a review on it, but I'd give that about a 6.5 out of 10, probably more towards 6 now that I've seen this one. I'd knock it down a half a point, but I would give Zack Snyder's Justice League, I would give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a really good superhero film. I think it's where I could see where everything was going from the beginning of Man of Steel. Everything ties together in this film perfectly. I know some people didn't like Jesse Eisenberg. It's another thing. He's not in this movie that much. He's in it a little bit, just a few minutes. That's it. So if you're not a big fan of his portrayal of Lex Luthor, you don't really have to see him that much. You see him a little bit in the beginning and a little bit towards the end, and that's about it. So if you don't like his portrayal, don't worry. He's not in it very much. I don't mind his portrayal. I don't think he's better than Gene Hackman, or even Kevin Spacey, but I think he's okay. He never got on my nerves like he does some people. But yes, a 9 out of 10 for Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think it's a really good superhero film, even bordering on great. I now know where he was taking everything, and I was very satisfied. And this is unprecedented that a studio gave somebody $70 million to go back to a film that was already released back in 2017 and told him to finish his version. So I think that's awesome, and maybe we'll see some more director's cuts come out. I know some people want the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad because supposedly there's a different version of that film out there that we might never see. Hopefully we will now. That this seems like it's probably going to be a success. Hopefully it is, and if it is, maybe they will give directors a shot to go back and fix some things they weren't happy with because they were meddled with by the studio. But yeah, 9 out of 10 for Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you sat down and watched this yet, if you have, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back next week with some Nightmare on Elm Street reviews. Until then, have a great weekend. See ya. Bye.